Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 112-104 victory against the Miami Heat. Now, the Raptors came into this one depleted, undermanned. Fred VanVleet did end up coming back from the injury roster, and the Heat did have some injuries themselves with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, but man, the Raptors came out in this one and really just, especially that second half where, the Heat came out, played very well to start off this game. It looked like they were sort of in control from the beginning, but then Toronto just turned on the defense, turned up the defense in the second half and really got their game going. Went on a 20-0 run that really, took this game from something the Heat really had control of to where the Raptors said, okay, we're in the driver's seat at this point. And what a performance. What a performance for this Raptors team, especially undermanned. You love to see it. But let's talk about the first guy that deserves his flowers, that deserves praise coming into this post-game reaction. The guy that, has stepped up amongst all of the absences, amongst all the injuries. The dude that everyone complained about being injury prone, well, he's been the most healthy, knock on wood, so far this season, right? When Pascal went down, Fred VanVleet went down, Gary Trent Jr.'s gone down. He has been our solid, most consistent dude in the lineup and out there on the court, and it's OG Anunoby, especially beyond the first week of the season, because, man, tonight, this dude was absolutely dominant. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was ferocious out there in the paint. Like, OG Anunoby in this game, 32 points, a season high, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, surprisingly no steals, but had some remarkable defensive possessions, right? Just all around, once again, OG Anunoby, like, he does everything out there on the court. And yes, there are moments where he, is feeling himself a little bit, is taking some weird contested threes, some contested middies and stuff. He's not great in those avenues just yet, but when he's being aggressive within the flow of the offense, catching the ball in the wing, catching the ball off some screen actions, facing up his defenders, being confident and assertive on those drives, and not, forcing up some weird step backs and stuff like he was for a couple games at the start of the season. This is prime OG Anunoby. This is peak OG Anunoby. He's been averaging 20 plus points per game for the month of November, and just is out here doing exactly what the Toronto Raptors need. If we have injuries going down, if we have star players out of the lineup, then, hey, OG Anunoby can come in, get you a 30-piece, can get some work going against the Miami Heat. However, if we have Pascal Siakam cooking, if Fred VanVleet's having a hot night, if Scottie Barnes is out here back returning, and, OG Anunoby doesn't necessarily need to be getting 30 touches a game, right? He can just be that 3-and-D player, getting 5-6 steals a night, splashing some threes. This is exactly what we want out of OG Anunoby, and it's the main reason that we shouldn't be so quick to give up on him. Like, I see so many times people are just adding him to trade packages willy-nilly. If there's not a superstar, like I'm saying a superstar out there on the table, I want OG Anunoby on this Raptors squad, right? That Blazers package that people were talking about this summer, get that out of here. I know it's the 8th pick, but Shaedon Sharpe is going to be a great player. I know Josh Hart would have been cool. I know they have a lot of cool pieces, but OG Anunoby is not only so valuable as a 3-and-D player, he fits exactly what the Toronto Raptors need. And yes, he's not the most consistent guy every single game, even though he's been pretty remarkable on the offensive end of the season, but he's not going to consistently get you super high efficient nights, and he's not going to be able to be that 1A option as a go-to scorer, the same way, maybe one day at one point we hoped he would develop into, similar to a Kawhi Leonard-esque guy. That's not his game, but he is like an all-star caliber player, role player, if that makes sense, right? And maybe he'll even sniff an all-star game. I discussed it in recent vids, a couple post-game reactions, but 20 plus points per night during the month of November. We still are going to have some injuries. If the Raptors continue to get some wins, right? OG Anunoby, is it crazy? Am I talking crazy to be saying, should we be looking for OG Anunoby in the All-Star game? Is this the guy that we should be voting for? It was the All-Star starter. Let me know in the comment section below, but that's what's happening. Turtle T saying maybe you gave up on him. Did not give up on OG Anunoby. Bring back the tapes. I've been out here backing OG Anunoby day in, day out. I was reluctant to throw him into Kevin Durant trade packages. So that's you guys are wilding out there on that front. But OG was great, but there was an award that has to be given out on every night, every post-game reaction. I'll get a drum roll going because tonight, the Scottie Barnes Award. It's coming out to none other than Scottie Barnes himself, the guy that had the biggest bounce back performance in this one. That as a return to his form that we all expect to be coming of Scottie Barnes, because tonight he had a very impressive performance in this one. Looking at the box score, Scottie Barnes in 42 minutes of action, where it seemed like he was playing on one leg for stretches, 19 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Defense looked improved there tonight, was a bit more mobile, was a bit more effective out there on the defensive end. You know, as he got, well, I'm missing the stats. Got a steal, got a block in this one, filling up the stat sheet, 4 turnovers, 6 assists. You know, not the greatest assist to turnover ratio, but Scottie Barnes, I thought, was more assertive, was more aggressive out there tonight, and it showed. It showed in his just performances. The Raptors also, Thaddeus Young out there hitting him in the dunker spots, got him a lot of easy buckets, easy looks. But Scottie was using that type handle. Fred VanVleet obviously came back and is our natural point guard, but Scottie Barnes for a large chunk of these possessions had the ball in his hands, was asked to create. And this is exactly what we want to see out of Scottie Barnes. Sure, we're all hoping the jumper develops. We all are hoping, he becomes that star player, which I think the third-year jump, right, that's where we're going to see those things really get added to Scottie Barnes' bag. But just him doing Scottie Barnes things, the things that made him great during his rookie season, that's all the Toronto Raptors need at this point in the season. We just need Scottie Barnes to be assertive, assert himself driving down those lanes, was more aggressive in there in the paint. That little post, I know NBA University came out and talked about Scottie Barnes' isolations just have not been that effective in terms of points per possession, all that sort of stuff. But when Scottie Barnes gets to his spots, where he's not making those tentative drives, where he shoots those weird kind of floater things, those fadeaways or those weird spin and mid-range jump shots, when he gets into his bag and gets that little post hook, from 3 to 5 feet around the rim, no matter if there's a 7'6" guy underneath the rim, Scottie Barnes is automatic from that range. I thought even over guys like Dwayne Dedmon and, some solid defenders and Jimmy Butler, Scottie Barnes was getting to his spots, picked them well, and, was pretty efficient in this game, right? 9 of 14 is very effective, knocked down a 3 in this one as well, right? We gotta give props. There's been so many people bashing on Scottie Barnes over the past week or so. I've been asking for him to step up. I'm obviously not bagging on his game or anything like that, because Scottie Barnes is our future star, our future superstar, if I might, keep with the hyperboles after a nice Raptors win, but maybe not. I think Scottie Barnes has that superstar level potential, but he's been bagged. He's certainly been bagged on a lot. So when he's playing well, when he has nights where he's back to form, this is exactly the type of performance I think we can realistically get. Maybe not the same amount of points, but the same assertiveness, the same playmaking, same facilitating, right? Maybe on points, 40 plus minutes for Scottie Barnes is probably not ideal, especially where he tweaked his ankle once again out there tonight. In this one, we'll dive into that more in the segments. But Scottie Barnes, I like the assertiveness. I like the approach to his game. But we had another Raptors point guard come out and play in this one, and that's Fred VanVleet, who wasn't the most efficient tonight, 7 of 21, but did Fred VanVleet things. 23 points, 8 assists, playing great defense out there on the likes of Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and Caleb Barton out there on switches and stuff. But I know people bag on his efficiency. You bring up the advanced stats, and he's not the, most effective in terms of points per possession, isolation plays, whatever you want, weird stats you want to throw out there. Fred VanVleet runs our half-court offense. I know Scottie Barnes is more of a naturally gifted passer. I know Pascal Siakam has been our MVP without a doubt this season. But Fred VanVleet is the engine that runs our team. It's the same way we discussed Kyle Lowry in previous years. DeMar DeRozan's the more talented guy. Kawhi Leonard was our MVP for that squad, right? Whoever he ended up was playing with, right? But Kyle Lowry just dictates. He tells people where to go. OG Anunoby's cooking out there on a couple of possessions. Fred VanVleet, yes, people crush him for slowing the game down, but you know why he's doing that? To get the ball in the hands of the dude that has scored for the last 3 possessions, right? Things are getting flustered. Things are getting crazy. Fred VanVleet can come out and hit a timely 3-point shot. And for all the criticism he's received this season, and on some nights, deservedly so, obviously he ends up, the Sixers game comes to mind, the one prior to this injury that he dealt with, right? Those are the ones that particularly come to mind when people are really bagging on Fred VanVleet. But those intangible skills that he brings as a point guard for this team are just not found by anyone else on this roster at this point, right? Maybe Flynn has that potential, maybe, who knows, right? But Fred VanVleet is a true commanding, dictating floor general out there. And sure, if it sucks when we're trying to run fast breaks and Fred VanVleet slows the ball down occasionally. Sure, it sucks that, someone flashes a cut and Fred VanVleet doesn't have the height to look over a guy and make those dimes and all that, but no one leads the team in the same way Fred VanVleet has over the past couple seasons. Since Kyle Lowry left, our half-court offense exclusively runs competently when Fred VanVleet is sort of pointing where people to go and stuff. And we saw that there in tonight's game. Fred VanVleet, when the Raptors went on that 20-0 run, was just doing some basketball magic, a coach's dream to have that general out there on the court, telling people where to go, telling what matchups to exploit. And yes, it comes with its positives. You don't play as fast as a Delano or Scottie out there, but everything is more under control. And defensively as well, Fred VanVleet, even though he's undersized, even though he's not that 6'9" frame, he's just a force out there. Like Caleb Martin had a possession where he drove in. He's probably got 6 inches, 5-6 inches on Fred VanVleet. Drived in. Fred VanVleet got underneath, got the help side rotation underneath there. And Caleb Martin was so flustered, was so scared that he just traveled and tried to make a weird kick out pass, right? It's Fred, man, throw some W's out there in the chat for Fred VanVleet. That was, Fred VanVleet he's that guy, man. He is that guy for this Toronto Raptors squad. So, gotta give credit where credit's due, but another guy that has stepped up when the Toronto Raptors have needed it most is Thaddeus Young. Again, start of the season, was barely playing any minutes. Got some coach's decision DNPs on some nights. But now, with all the injuries that the Raptors have sustained, with all the ups and downs that we've had from some of our younger players, Thaddeus Young has ingratiated himself into this rotation as a guy that we really can't take out of the game for stretches, like long stretches. And it's not because he's just some dominant scorer. He's gone to the fountain of youth and become a 15-point per game scorer again. No. It's not because he's out there being a 7-foot defensive shot blocker left, right, and center. No. Chatty Thaddeus Young doesn't do anything crazy amazing. He's not a elite shooter. He's not one of the league's best passers. He's not one of the league's best post scorers and finishers. He's not going to dominate matchups. Heck, he's probably not even like an upper, top 10% mobile defender. But you know what? He's top 30% in all those areas. Or he's top 40, top 30. And he just doesn't do anything bad out there on the court. 30 might be high, but Thaddeus Young just, whatever's asked of him, whatever's asked of this man, doesn't. And that's what Alvin Williams kept raving about on the broadcast. But tonight, in this game, just looking at the score, again, nothing too crazy out in the box sheet. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a couple turnovers, 6 of 9 from the field, but was out there hustling for some offensive rebounds, was out there in that mid-post, feeding that connection that he has with Chris Boucher. Even if Chris Boucher didn't finish all the final buckets, right? Just making those gorgeous pinpoint passes. Also hit Scottie in the dunker a couple times. Makes perfection reads out there with the ball in his hands. Was getting tips, doing all these things on the box score. Took one charge. I don't think it was called for, but, just doing everything out there on the court. And when the Raptors are down so many men, having a guy that you can just come in and be reliable off the bench. And this is a big theme at the start of the season. When we lost a couple games because we go through these ridiculous scoring droughts, right? I just said, we need a couple people off the bench that can be reliable. And I thought Chris Boucher and Otto Porter Jr. be those two players. Thaddeus Young is cementing himself as that type of guy for this Raptors team. And yes, he's asked to do more with Pascal, Precious, all these guys out. But don't sleep on this man's ability to do all these things once all those guys are back into the roster. So I don't think we'll see any more coach's decision DMPs for Thaddeus Young going forward because this man's was absolutely amazing. There's no other way to put it. But let's run through the other guys because we got some segments to cover. And tonight, Delano Banton didn't have as hot of a game as he had in the most recent one. Obviously missed a lot of the stretch where the Raptors made the comeback, but had a couple of open corner threes that would have been nice to go down. We'll talk about his injury in the segments. Kem Birch also back in this one. 2 points, a couple fouls. Didn't have a great performance himself. But Chris Boucher, 15 points, 10 rebounds. Exactly the type of performance we want to see off the bench for Mr. Boucher. But one guy that I want to give some credit to, and I've seen the chat. I've seen the chat bring up his performance out there. I got the animation ready to go. But Juancho Hernangomez, he's pretty solid. He's just a solid guy out there. Not doing anything too crazy. Missed a couple of threes I would have liked to see go down. Right, again, the box score is not going to be telling. 0 points for Juancho Hernangomez, but 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, plus 17 for the game, the highest plus minus in this one. Just came out and was very effective out there with switching on defense. The Miami Heat, they have a lot of guys that can attack you, that a lot of guys that, I guess with Hero and Bam out, not to the same extent as usual, but Juancho Hernangomez came out and fulfilled his need on this Raptors team as, a guy that can floor space, and even if you're missing the shots, he's a guy that has to be guarded out there, so you can't just completely help off him, but he will need to hit those shots at some point to be a staple in the Raptors rotation. But if he can continue to play defense, use that 6'9" frame, use what the quote from Adam Sandler, the mix of Scottie, Pippen, and a Wolf out there on defense, if he can continue to play that level of defense, he's going to get his opportunities. Obviously, to stay in the rotation, he's going to need to be able to knock down threes. That's essential. That's going to be key for him to be a key part of this squad. But if he keeps playing defense, just like any Toronto Raptor during the Nick Nurse era, even the later years in the Dwayne Casey era, if you play defense, you'll get your opportunities. And hopefully the offense comes for Juancho Hernangomez, the cruise missile, because he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential in this squad. But I think it's time to swing into the segments because there's a lot of moments in this one we have to discuss. And tonight, the spicy pea lay of the day. And we got a couple moments, and the play is really going to that 5-minute stretch. The Toronto Raptors just came out there and absolutely clamped down the Miami Heat. Danny's in the chat saying we need Bismack Biyombo. The Raptors had the spirit of Bismack Biyombo in their souls in this game because they, especially during that third quarter, because for a full 5-minute stretch, Miami Heat didn't score. They had their guys out there on the lineup too. Maybe not for the last couple minutes of it, but, the Raptors just, when they're focused, when they're locked in, when they're mentally engaged out there running these systems, because we know the defensive talent that this team has individually. And Nick Nurse has received some criticism just because he might be making the defensive schemes a bit too complicated because we get burned, we give up a lot of open threes and all that sort of stuff. But if you're focused and you're talented on defense, you can run those complex schemes that we know are effective. We know have won this team an NBA championship. That heck, probably in that bubble season, if that pandemic didn't go down, probably would have led a team without a superstar to the NBA finals. I'm still believing that take. I say the Raptors, the bubble wasn't going on. We are winning that take. The chat's wilding out there now. But when the defense is engaged, right, that's what we want to see. We want to see the defense just moving, getting involved. The chat's distracting me now at this point, but it's a play. Michael Edmond, it's a play. I'll also give it to just the clutch 3 that Chris Boucher had at the end of this one. That was a nice one that went down. It's a dagger 3. Max Strus was out there talking some smack on the other end, and Boucher silence all those Miami Heat trash talkers, going into that final dagger possession. So I'll get that rocking. I'll get that rocking. We got all that stuff going, but not all plays can be the spicy play of the day, and some just make you say, "Oh, geez." And tonight, the "Oh, geez" play of the day. It's going to what's it called? When Kyle Lowry had one crazy just float banker in this one, which was a wild look. That shot itself made me say, "Oh geez," and just seeing Kyle Lowry out there on the court in Miami Heat, that weird Miami Heat looking uniform, it was still a weird sight, still not something that I'm used to. But there was also a stretch during the end of the third, the beginning of the fourth, where the refs got very whistle happy, and I can see the frustration Miami Heat fans with this whistle for some moments out there because there was a lot of touch fouls, but then obviously we're going to be biased for the Toronto Raptors in terms of reffing and all that. Like, we're going to say, hey, we're getting messed over by all these calls. But there was a stretch where I was like, okay, I can see Heat fans being frustrated by this. And just as I felt for the Miami Heat fans, the Raptors got like 3 straight possessions of just brutal calls. So it was not the most effectively reffed game, but I think it ended up evening out. It was bad on both sides for that there. But the OG's play of the day is that 20-minute stretch. The 20-minute stretch, OG was lethal tonight. But you know, we got the chat out here wilding, out here rocking. But let's I want to see what the chat is saying about this game. So I'll swing into the final segment tonight. The one, the only, the infamous, the Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the evening. And this one, it's going to injuries, man. It's going to injuries tonight. Delano Banton ended up going down with an injury himself, and you know, it sucks because yes, he wasn't having the best performance when he was actually out there in this game, but he's coming off a tremendous November of action. I just broke it down in our most recent video, how Delano Banton is really taking this game to the next level. So hopefully this is just a minor thing where he bounces back for the next game. He tried to be able to, you know, was getting some tests done throughout the game on that ankle, and then yeah, I believe it was ankle. I might be misremembering what was announced on the broadcast, what was reported, but he was testing whatever leg injury he had and then wasn't able to return. So hopefully, given obviously Pascal Siakam being out, Gary Trent Jr. out at this point, Otto Porter Jr. day-to-day, Precious Achiuwa out indefinitely, Kem Birch, Fred VanVleet sort of in and out of the lineup for the past 2 weeks, having a guy that, you know, was capitalizing on an opportunity over the past stretch of games to go down as well. Raptors have just been snake bitten at the start of the season, but hopefully we're just getting all of our injuries out of the way at the start of the year, so things will be smooth sailing come playoff time, because last season we had our injury bug hit during the playoffs, and that's honestly the worst possible time for all of that stuff to occur. So, you know, Surreal Deal's the same Banton of the Opera. I'm a bigger fan of the Banton Menace, you know, get the Star Wars reference out there for the boys. But it was a fun game for the Toronto Raptors, even despite all these injuries going down. But let's see what the chat is having to say about this game. Danny's out here saying, should we bring back DeLon Wright as a backup point guard? And, you know, I'm cool with letting Delano Banton run out this season. I like his potential. Yes, DeLon Wright's probably better at this point, but he just went down with an injury himself, right? More of an established guy, but we want to see what Delano Banton has in his bag. We want to see his three-point shot, while it was 1 for 6 tonight, has been really effective in recent games. You know, if he gets that three-point shot, that defense, the capability to play within the offense, he could quickly eclipse DeLon Wright. But, you know, this injury ends up occurring, and, you know, the Delano Banton's out for a while, we deal with some injuries. I wouldn't mind bringing Delano back, or DeLon Wright. But definitely pray for Banton. Pray for the Banton Menace. But he's long and athletic. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Doughton and Rockers is saying that you know, or Doughton, I assume he's saying me and Jeff Doughton. No Jeff Doughton in this game tonight. I thought he was pretty solid in our most recent outing. So it's unfortunate because I'm a big Jeff Doughton stan. I want to see this guy get some run, but you know, if Delano Banton's playing well, it makes sense why Doughton isn't out there in the Raptors. You know, if Banton's out, we still don't have all of our guys back. Like if the Starboy doesn't return and all this sort of stuff, we're gonna have to run with some Jeff Doughton, right? We need to see that opportunity, see him get some plays there in an upcoming game. So we'll see what happens on that front. But Super Strike is saying, I recall the Cavs got off to a pretty hot start this year. Good to see them fall back to the mean. 100%, because we need to catch a lot of these teams, right? We want to be a top 3 seed this season. That's been my prediction. That's been my take. I think the Cavs are a team we can certainly pass. They're definitely a good squad. No doubting on the Cleveland Cavaliers is a solid team, but I think they're a team the Raptors are capable of catching. Brandon Toll's coming out and roasting the cruise missile, saying bros, Bo Struess, always killing us. Bo Struess? Are you talking Max Struess? I don't know. I thought it was Bo Cruz. I read that wrong. But we'll see what ends up happening. But Michael Edmonds saying, I'm there with you, Ben. I love Jeff Doughton Jr. He's great. He is an elite guy. For a deep bench player, I want to see this man just get some run. And while Delano Banton, I think, deserves the minutes ahead of him right now, I just love his mid-range jump shots. I love his floaters, and he just seems very stable, right? Like I talked about how Thaddeus Young is just a guy that you can rely upon. I feel like Doughton's a dude that has that potential to be a reliable player. Nothing too crazy, but nothing too bad either out there on the court. So Raps versus Cavs, Raps in 5, easy money, but tons of games left, 100%. But Piercy the God saying that surprised Malachi Flynn saw no action. And that's true. No minutes in this one, especially when Delano Banton ended up going down. You can see the minutes out there. No minutes for Malachi Flynn. No minutes for Champagne. No minutes for Jeff Doughton Jr. I think Nick Nurse liked the run of Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Not many minutes for Christian Coloco. Not many minutes for anyone outside of OG Anunoby, Scottie Barnes, even Thaddeus Young didn't get a whole lot of run. Fred VanVleet. So, we'll see what ends up happening on that front because Malachi Flynn is certainly a guy that's been solid. Like, he hasn't been bad by any means, but defensively just doesn't bring the same level of impact as some of our other dudes. But Jansen is saying OGs or Kazoo from Dedmon getting injured. Yeah, that hit was pretty. That definitely made me say OGs. Definitely a natural knee motion for OG. Wasn't any Draymond Green shenanigans going around with that take. But unfortunate for a guy getting hit. I'm not sure if it was in the groin area, the midsection, but hopefully he's all right. Kawhi Leopard is saying that why isn't Gary Trent Jr. playing lately? Is he injured or something? Yes, our star boy is out with a hip injury. He injured his hip in a recent game, so that's apparently why he's out of the lineup. I was speculating he might have been sick, but apparently it was a hip injury. CH is saying Jeff Doughton is probably the only Raptor that could guard Maxey. I hate to bring that up on painful memory. Yeah, let's not. We gotta win here, CH. We want to ride the waves. So Fred VanVleet absolutely clamping Caleb Martin, not Tyrese Maxey out here. No, don't bring back the bad flashbacks. As in saying, oh gee, oh my. Love to see it, but Harper Jr. possibly getting some run. I think there's a lot of guys, Percy, ahead of Ron Harper Jr. in the runs, but defensively, I think he could have an impact. Maybe he's a guy that could be, randomly thrown in there at times to see if he has an opportunity. But what happened to Koloko? He went from starting to fourth off the bench. I think the switchability, and Nick Nurse has even brought it up, Danny, that night in, night out, we're going to see different lineups for this Raptors team. And tonight, especially without Bam Adebayo out there on the court, he were spacing that court the entire game. And Koloko got burnt on a couple of closeouts in this one. So, he's an amazing rim protector, but the Raptors had big enough bodies to, the Heat are a small team themselves. So the Raptors were more effective and had more size when they're running that more switchable lineup anyways. So that's a route, that's a direction we ended up seeing. And Edmund saying that Justin might still be injured, Justin Champagnie. Hopefully no injuries are happening there for Mr. Champagnie Poppy. But yes, Max Strus, I meant. My bad, Brandon. But he always has, that's facts. And the one thing I was, you have fantasy players on the team that you're cheering against. Max Strus is a guy I was fully confident in having a big game because he always kills the Raptors. But this one, 20 points. Honestly, I didn't feel like he had 20 in this game. He had ended up hitting 3 of 8 from the 3-point line and stuff. But happy he didn't. It was like a quiet 20 for Max Strus. Usually his 20 pieces, 30 pieces he goes off against us feel really cutting. He was effective in the first half, plays good defense and stuff. I think he's just a really underrated player across the league. I love Max Strus on this team. But Champagnie's there, missing a few chats. But yeah, Hassas is saying that Malachi has looked very good in limited minutes this season. Surprised he didn't play tonight. Yeah, he's the defensively, I think, is the issue. I think it's the issue for Malachi Flynn. He's solid out there on offense, but he's not consistent enough. Like, he's not that good of an offensive player to where you have to throw him out when he has defensive limitations. That's at least from what my eye test has been seeing. Obviously, Nick Nurse would have to speak on it. But Sean is saying that we should try to sign Strus. He's supposed to be a free agent next year, right? I'm not up to date on the Max Strus contract situation, but man, him added to this core is exactly the type of player that we need. Coming off the bench, plays elite defense, would certainly get a lot of run in a Raptor system. So definitely agree, Sean, that we should bring him in, especially if he's not going to be rocking out. But is there any team banged up as the Raptors right now? I don't know. The Heat had a couple guys out with injury tonight. I guess you could say the Clippers, Kawhi, but Paul George is back there, so maybe not. I don't know. I think it's a tough look. Ben Simmons and Kyrie, but neither of those guys are. I guess injury's not with Kyrie, but yeah, then I wouldn't. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any teams more injured. The Bucks with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday out could be a contender, but all the energy, their injury healing went into Brook Lopez's back surgery because that guy's been remarkable there tonight. But Brand Toll saying I'm not hating on Bo Cruz. Don't worry, defense is incredible tonight. Can't hate on the Cruz Miss. I appreciate you clarifying that, Brandon. I also don't have my contacts or glasses in, so I'm definitely ruining some of these. Just don't, I can't read in general anyways, so it's tougher to read the chat. But OG looked like Kawhi tonight. The young Kawhi, the young prince, stepping into that role, fulfilling the prophecy. But yeah, the Raptors are in half in the grave roster wise. Definitely an ugly look. But the Raps need to get that Phoenix Steve Nash era medical team. No, that is facts. What that medical team did for Steve Nash, for Grant Hill, Jason Richardson, a lot of guys had like a renaissance when they went to Phoenix down there. So, Steve Nash had like neck surgery there first, or neck or back injuries, came to Phoenix, ended up winning a couple MVPs. Bring him in. Alex McKechnie's also one of the best sports scientists, sports gurus, but him mixed with the luck that the Phoenix Suns, the OG Phoenix Suns training staff brought, that would be great. But Savage is saying Fred's inefficient. We got to call him inefficient AF. He has to calm down. 26 shots for 32 points, 21 points on 23 shots. And Savage, I brought this up. I went on my rant earlier. Yes, you can bring up the stats of Fred VanVleet. Yes, the efficiency isn't great, but that's not where Fred VanVleet's value lies. Fred VanVleet's value lies in commanding the offense, being our point guard, setting everyone up, setting the table for this team. People underestimate the power of the value of having an actual leader out there on the court. A guy that can really put people in the right positions to be successful. And, that huge run, while Fred VanVleet wasn't the main scorer for that, for a large stretch of it, he was one of the major reasons the Raptors went on that 20-0 run. And also, he hits very timely shots. So I'm not taking no Fred VanVleet here today. There's been a lot of trash on Siakam and Fred VanVleet. The value of those two guys are key. The Mavs are losing to the Rockets. And Spooky Ghostwriter, I don't understand it. The Dallas Mavericks look like prime MJ. I don't know if Luka just sees red. Well, I guess he does with the jerseys, but when he's going up against the Toronto Raptors. But the Mavs look unstoppable when they play us, and then they just suck some nights. And they're my second favorite team at this point, so it sucks. But a Raptors fan saying that Flynn didn't play any tonight after having 12 points in just 15 minutes, a +8. Nick Nurse overused the starters. What is Nick Nurse's problem? And he just loves keeping Malachi Flynn in the Nick Nursery. It's what he does. It's where he keeps them. But I think it's the defense. That's my take. I didn't talk to Nick Nurse, but that's if I had to make an opinion just from the eye test and stuff, I think defensively he's not doing what's requested out there. But William Chance out here saying great game. I just hope Banton's sprain is not too severe. 100%. Delano Banton going down with injury sucks, especially at this time where the Raptors are dealing with so many, and he's been playing well. Scottie Barnes is not a good player, injuries or not. He's just not good. Mo Mash, Golden Kazoo, go to Mo Mash. Throw an L in the chat at Mo, because that was silly. But Ryan saying peeps just can't enjoy a W. Fred make plays at the exact right time. CH, that's facts. Savage, bring up the numbers. I'm bringing up the basketball. Fred VanVleet is an all-star for this team. He's a beast. Some L takes going on in the chat, but I do appreciate it. What you're saying, and I get he should be hitting more of his shots, and Fred VanVleet can just become more consistent finishing. The start of the 2020, what year was it? 2019, 2020 season, pre-pandemic. Fred VanVleet seemed like he added a bunch of finishing packages to his bag. Became one of the better finishers around the rim. If he can get that back, so he can be more efficient in the game, that would just be great. That'd be great. But I'm not taking any Fred VanVleet hate here. I'm not taking any of these this Fred VanVleet hate. But Brand Toll saying, I got OG and Spicy Pia on my fantasy team, and since Pascal's been out, OG been picking up the slack. OG on a tear lately. OG is a star in this league right now. Yeah, I got him on one of my leagues as well. OG is just a beast. I wanted Pascal Siakam, but no one's willing to give that man up. Maybe I can buy low with all of his injuries and all that, but it's that's a nice squad. Having OG and Pac on that squad. But anybody can cherry pick stats to say any player is really good at Brad. And that's facts. Especially you bring up advanced stats, man. I don't rant about them a lot on the pods, but you can you can literally say anything when it comes to advanced stats. I've been out here. I'm a numbers guy. I'm an analytics nerd. Literally a computer scientist is my day job. You can get some weird takes going with some advanced stats. As a whole, especially in bigger sample sizes, then they give more insights. But if you're looking at a couple games, it's silly what you can do out there with advanced stats. They're valuable in certain cases, but I get efficiency is a big one, just like field goal percentage and stuff. But there's intangibles to the game of basketball as well. So it's a mix of both. Both are important. But Luka's resting tonight. It was back-to-back with the Clippers last night. My bad. I'm watching the game, but, even still, they got a lot of shooters out there on Dallas. But Sean is saying, I wouldn't bother trying to talk sense into Savage. He made like 50 incoherent rage. But Savage is a legend in is a legend in the chats. He's been popping in, so I don't mind. I don't mind the takes. I don't mind the differentiating opinions. I don't mind debating the folks. It's a bit of fun, but it's what's happening. And Downton over Flynn. Haroon. Flynn defensively, I think he has more potential. I don't know. I'm a Downton guy. I'm a Downton dude. What can I say? I'm not doubting the Downton. But I want to see more of a sample size before I properly put him over Flynn. Jansen saying, do you watch any G League highlights? I've never been a big G League guy. Never been a big college basketball dude. I'm focused. I'm all NBA. Love the Raptors and stuff. So I don't have the greatest insights into the old G League side of things. But Fred VanVleet is not a superstar. If other players get more minutes and shoot like they do, Banton 27 and 24. Yeah, but Fred VanVleet also has the focus of the defense on him. It's not a superstar. Superstar is like 5 superstars in the league. 7, 10. However you want to, whatever criteria. He's an all-star though. He's an all-star. And L for the Heat, yes. L for the Heat. L for the hatin' takes on the boys. But if you don't say numbers, then anybody can be superstars. Yeah, he's not a superstar. He's an all-star. He had 20, 23, and 8, baby. Sure, the efficiency is what it is, but he's getting out there timely buckets. That's what we got rocking. But I love the L's out there for the hate. I don't want to scare away people either with my Fred VanVleet love, but he's good. And About Time's in the chat saying Fred almost blew the game. What are you talking about Time? Fred VanVleet was great, but I loved watching the Heat lose, as we all do. The Heat randomly have like serious beef with Raptors fans, and I don't know why. We beat them in that 2016 series, and they just haven't liked us since. But it's what's happening. But I'm happy about the win. Without Scottie or Fred, we blow this team out. I disagree. We lose this game without Fred VanVleet, in my opinion. We lose it without Scottie Barnes for sure. Scottie Barnes is great. I don't know how you could hate on Scottie Barnes' game in this one. But unfortunately, why don't know ball? You don't know ball. Assume that's I don't know if that's directed at me or other people in the chat, but I hope I got that acronym right too. This big brain plays, picking up some algorithms. But Scottie looked like Scottie tonight. That's exactly what we want to see out of Scottie Barnes. Con Kim, like that he's playing. And Jeff Mitchell's asking what happened to Champagny. I just don't think he's in the rotation just yet. I don't think he's out there ready to go. We'll see what happens. We'll see what ends up happening. Ben, I want to be your stepfather. Can I date your mom? Nameless. Sorry. Can't. She's taken. So it's a tough go. Brand Toll saying that Scottie is still limping. Can't have another injury. And I had the OGs in my brain earlier in this game, but it slipped my mind. I just kind of went off the top. But another OGs moment in this game, in this one, was when Scottie Barnes properly was limping and just didn't get up the court on an offensive possession. And then we got fouled or something. Nick Nurse kept him in the game. And I was like, Nick Nurse, what are you doing, man? Our young and promising star that's dealt with injury issues, you're keeping him out there? What? And then he ended up being fine. So I don't know what's on the go with Scottie. But that's what's happening. I'm super tired. I played a basketball game. I've been working like crazy. My bad on that. Sullivan. I'm a Flynn guy. If Malachi Flynn could drop 70 plus in multiple rec league games, why can't he drop 10 points per game? He's not that bad of a scorer. Offensively, he's effective. I think defensively right now is the issue. Raptors fans, all right. Nice chat with you. Good job, Ben. Good night. Appreciate you, Raptors fan, popping in the chats as always. But Nameless is mod. Nameless is mod? Well, is Nameless a mod? I don't know what's I don't know what's on the go. But such BS takes. Would rather take our bench over Scottie or Fred. Water strength takes. I assume in the roast in the Scottie. Like, when the defense is focused in on you, like, there's a different sort of level of game that you got to be playing at to get some buckets. And Scottie and Fred are taking on some serious load. So that's you can't be roasting on our top guys like that. But Rockaz is saying that how can they beef us when they don't have our Lowry? They can't beat us when they don't have our Lowry. Prime Lowry. Lowry's a secret agent. We all know this. But it always takes some hard stretches for this team to get some rhythm. yeah, offensively, I'd like us to be more consistent. I like to get that stuff rocking. But he's also injured. True. The med staff got to speak up if Scottie's actually injured. Scottie's getting doubled a lot since Siakam's out. Yeah, 100% on both those fronts, right? Scottie Barnes out there limping. I don't care what Nick Nurse says that he's healthy and all that. I don't know. He just is hobbled out there. Some moments he looks fine, but then some moments it looks like has playing on a torn Achilles or something like that. Like, hopefully none of that is actually happening. Hopefully none of that is actually on the go. But it's a weird look. It's a weird look. But I like Baz. I don't know what that is. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Not Donald. But he is also injured. Med staff is 100%. And he's getting doubled out there. Koloko had a solid game. He said, "I'm crazy, Ben." Who said you're crazy, Nameless? I don't know. I don't know what's on the go. There's no defense focus on him. Don't make up lies, Ferrati. And then y'all seen that air ball from 10 feet. That's another OGs. That was a pass. Don't be making up lies, Savage. That was a pass to Thaddeus Young. It's going in the assist column. That's what's happening. They have our Lowry. They have our dude. But Savage, you got your own chat tonight. Everyone's got their own vibes. Everyone's got their own stuff rocking. But folks, we got 300 people in the chat. Definitely hit that subscribe button. We've been missed a couple of post-game reactions. I apologize. I got them out the day after, but the lives, all that stuff will be back. The watch along should actually be back next game too. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. Lots of new things popping. Also, let me know what you guys think about the thumbnails. The thumbnails we've been trying to make a little bit more crispy. I want to see what the chat has to say about those. But shout out to Philly, and shout out to Leafs Digest. They're doing a giveaway for some Marlies tickets. If you guys are interested in checking out their live stream tomorrow night, subscribe to their channel and you can definitely win. Teoscar Hernandez has what's it called? He was traded from the Blue Jays, so you can check out the Jays channel, Jays Digest, for reactions to that big video coming from them tomorrow. And we had a really good video essay. I know we have some people from Montreal fans in our chat right now that are talking about how they are Habs fans and stuff. Really good video produced today from Josh over on Habs Digest. So it's we're staying fun out here. Digest brand is growing. We're getting all that stuff to the moon, trying to grow everything out. But folks, Ryan, keeping the lives back. The live watch-alongs will be returning. People, every game is a war. It doesn't matter who sits out because the guy's stepping up. True. Folks, ending the Pistons curse is what we want to see. And here it's saying they looking as crispy as Mary Brown's chicken. Love to see that. Mary Brown's, please sponsor us. You're a Newfoundland company. Mary Brown's, for people that don't know, came from Newfoundland. And I think the owner of it lives like on the street and house I'm moving into. Like, sponsor us, boys. Get that stuff rocking. But we're just giving shout outs out there. But Scottie lived down the tunnel after the game. I'm hoping he's healthy. But anyways, folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out our Discord. Check out everything that we got going. The Instagram's also going to be popping off. RZ, can you do something for me? 100%. We'll be I guess I'm sounding off when that's happening. But folks, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.